Well, welcome back to Radio Entrepreneurs. My name is Jeffrey Davis. I'm the host of Radio Entrepreneurs, and I'm also CEO and founder of Mage LLC, a management consulting firm working with organizations in transition, which is all of us in this economy. Been a busy time, and I'm looking forward to our next guest, and that's Nate Harris, partner at Lando Anastasi. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So you're a big IP attorney, correct?
So they say.
All right. Well, how's the world of IP doing in this economy?
Yeah, like every other, industry or field, it's certainly had to make some adjustments. What with the pandemic. So it's been an interesting year, but things are still moving forward and moving ahead. So certainly optimistic for the year ahead.
Well, okay, but let's put a little more meat on those bones. Let's talk about some types of transactions, types of things that you are working on so we get a sense in this economy.
Sure. So my practice, well, let me back up. Our firm is, we do all types of intellectual property. We do only intellectual property. So, patents, trademarks, copyrights, trade secrets, and we do the, what they call the prosecution side of that, which is, writing, for example, for a patent, writing up the patent application, filing it, negotiating with the patent office over, the claim scope or what have you. So that's the prosecution side. And of course, we also do the litigation, the contested matters in court or in front of, various federal agencies. So that's what the firm does. My practice, most people at the firm tend to focus on patent prosecution. My practice is kind of unique in that I certainly do some patent prosecution, a fair amount of my practice, but a large part of my practice is trademark. So trademark prosecution, trademark litigation. I also do copyright matters. So I kind of have my hand in a lot of different areas, which is good. It makes for sort of an interesting mix of work.
Interesting. And does doing business feel different now than it did a year ago?
It does. I mean, everyone's doing the same thing we're doing right now. Everyone's at home. Everyone's trying to juggle, getting the video to work, making sure their kids are getting off the bus, so it's been an adjustment. I certainly have adjusted the way that I've gone about practicing. I've tried to make my hours a little bit more accommodating to different people who, their availability may be later in the day or earlier in the morning or what have you. I've also just, the way procedurally, a lot of stuff that we used to do would be me emailing someone a form, they print it out, sign their name with ink, scan it back to me, then I would upload it or whatever the process is. But we've moved more towards fully electronic processes. So whereas you used to have to go through that whole rigmarole to file a trademark application a year ago, at least kind of the way that we typically did it, nowadays, I can do everything, send you the link. You can do it on your phone while you're doing whatever. Just, kind of type in your signature and submit it. So we've certainly adapted to kind of people being more at home, more not as close to scanners, for example. So.
Well, Nate, I don't know if I can ask you this question, but I mean, you do a lot of work with machine learning, artificial intelligence, computer vision. Any particular projects did you work on? You go, wow, this is just going to be changing things for all of us. Any game changers you like to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, none that I could really get into specifics, but yeah, I mean, every day, when we're talking with inventors and things, it's crazy to listen in on these conversations of people, inventors. If you got multiple inventors on a call, maybe they're kind of brainstorming while you're talking to them, and you just sit there and think, man, I'm the dumbest guy on this call. And that's a cool feeling to just get to sit in and listen to that kind of thing.
That's neat. Well, let's get a little bit into the Wayback Machine. I assume that you have a background prior to Lando, and maybe you could just give us some of your background, how you got into this.
Yeah. So I went to Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute for computer science back in the day. And then when I graduated, I went and worked for IBM for about 6 years, doing kind of various programming things. And then, it wasn't, so then I went to law school, and the intention really wasn't to get into intellectual property necessarily. I kind of just wanted a change of pace, wanted to try something different. And I ended up going, coincidentally or not, to now it's UNH Law. It was Franklin Pierce Law Center at the time, which has a really good IP program, one of the best in the country. And so I almost kind of fell back into it there. And certainly when I finished up law school in 2009, you recall the economy had just crashed a few months earlier. So, the legal field was a little bit slim pickings for jobs at that point, but IP, particularly patent law, was one of the few bright spots. So I was able to kind of parlay that previous technical experience into kind of getting into the patent law space and sort of rediscovering my technical roots, if you will.
Interesting. So do you see a lot of changes coming over the next year or so? Because we're going to hopefully be coming out of the pandemic. The field of law is changing a lot. What can we look forward to?
Yeah, I think there'll be a lot of changes. I think a lot of people, I'm just one person. My experience towards the end of the year was in the second half of 2020, following up on clients about things that maybe were not urgent, something that they maybe wanted to do. A lot of people were saying, let's talk about this in January. And so when I did, come January, it was full speed ahead with a lot of projects. So I think people are kind of raring to get back to it. So I'm sort of expecting a big year. I think we all are hoping that 2021 looks very little like 2020. So yeah, I think certainly in the tech space, I think people are continuing to innovate, and they have been, and whether they're at home or whether they're in their offices or their labs, people are still working on problems and everything. I think we're all looking forward to just pushing ahead into the future here.
So does technology change the way you do your job a lot? Has it made it easier?
So I think it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? I mean, certainly it makes it a lot easier to, if going back to the example of if I'm talking to inventors and I don't understand something that they're talking about, I can then go look it up later and, do my own research and kind of get myself up to speed. So the ability to kind of dig in deep on technology, of course, has never been better. There's also the flip side of, you're always reachable nowadays. So, it's my phone. I guess you can't see it, but, tech kind of certainly ties you to the job more in good ways and, maybe not so good ways, but.
Good. We've been speaking with Nate Harris, partner at Lando Anastasi. Nate, if someone's looking for you about, maybe some questions around IP and things like that, how would they find you?
They could go to our website, lalaw.com. It's got my my email address, phone number, fax number if you're feeling retro. So
great. I want to thank you for being on the show today, and we look forward to meeting you again. And,
yeah, thank you.
Great. Remind everybody, this is Radio Entrepreneurs.